Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, wishing all of you a happy Black Friday. I hope many of you aren't too strung out and stressed out from your holiday shopping. But I also hope that none of you are laying back on your couches, still recovering from Thanksgiving dinner, wondering why nobody stopped you from eating. Now, normally here on the channel, after Thanksgiving, we usually take a look at a giant-sized Transformer. Past few years, we've been looking at a lot of the Titan-class figures, but we already reviewed the Ark for this year. So, we're going to take a look instead at another good figure from the Studio 86 line. We've got the Dinobot Slug, which, of course, due to the way the names are done now, that's likely either due to trademark issues or the fact that slag is not a very good word to use anymore. I don't know who decides this, but anywho. Slug is in the same price point that Grimlock was last year, so he will be on the $50 mark. And for some reason that I have yet to fathom why, they figured that Slug needed to come with a bonus figure, so he comes with Daniel Witwicky, Spike's son, in his exosuit. Now, it has been a while since I last saw the animated Transformers movie. I will admit to that. But one thing I do remember is that Daniel didn't hang around with Slag or Slug. He was always wrapped around RC's legs. So, Hasbro, shouldn't Daniel have been included with a larger version of a Studio RC instead of including him with a Dinobot? But then again, for the one or two people out there that actually admit to liking Daniel, was he really worth making? If there's any consolation for those few of you who are a fan of Daniel, he is done up in a similar style to Wheelie that came with Grimlock. You know, you can move the arm, you can move the arms at the shoulder all the way, and you can spread the legs out and wiggle them around. With Daniel being done at about the same size as Wheelie, you can probably reenact the scene on Junkion with the two of them breakdancing. But that's for the one or two fans of Daniel that really care about that. Unfortunately for Daniel, I ain't one of them. So, get out of here, Daniel. We won't care about you. At any rate, let's take a look here at Slug's background, and it's pretty similar to the one for Grimlock. It is, of course, depicting the Quintesson courtroom. I would have loved it more if there would have been something to look like the remains of the door squishing the prosecutor. Since, let's face it, that was one of the greatest bits out of the movie, when the Dinobots barged in, and Slag looks down at the prosecutor under the door and goes, "Excuse me," before continuing on in. Alright, let's get that out of the way here. Now, for the benefit of the newer folks around here who may not be as familiar with the character, here, of course, is the Generation 1 toy. The original version of Slag, back when you could call him Slag, was released in 1985. He would be among the first wave of the Dinobot figures, and was released alongside Sludge and Grimlock. Their Dinobot buddies of Snarl and Swoop would be released later in that year. The Dinobots, being an instant hit with kids, were featured heavily in the animated series and played a major role in the animated movie. as they were partially responsible for helping the Autobots turn the tide at Autobot City, and thus also went on a merry adventure with Cup and Hot Rod, finding themselves stranded on the planet Quintessa for a while, before rejoining the Autobots on Junkion. The Dinobots were last seen making a hilarious attempt to kick Unicron in the butt, before Grimlock decided they needed a new strategy and retreated. At any rate, this version here of Slug, as he's now known, is done up to be more accurate to his animated model. So this is one of the few times that we have an animated, accurate version of the character. Unless any of you out there shelled out the money for the special version of the Power of the Primes Volcanicus that Hasbro Pulse sold, which had the Dinobots all done up in their animated series colors. Unfortunately, I didn't. I couldn't afford it at the time. And as of the recording of this video, I'm still unemployed. Hopefully that will change later, but one can hope. At any rate, we'll take a look here at Slug's one other accessory, aside from Daniel, who we do not want to talk about. And that is his gun. It's a nice representation of his gun. In fact, it's done up to borrow a lot of the design elements from his gun from the Generation 1 toy. But it takes it in a different direction, as the G1 gun was very, very simplistic in its nature. So seeing the new one here, with some added extra features to it, is a nice upgrade. Alright, before we start transforming Slug here, let's take a look at some of his articulation real fast. You can turn his head from side to side, and it does rock down a bit more, but it's not really on that big of a ball joint, so it won't move very much. His arms can be raised out about so far, and his arms do rotate at the shoulder all the way. There's something to mention, the Triceratops horns are just held in by a small clip, so they can pop out very easily if you're not careful. You can bend his arm at the elbow 90 degrees. But of course, it can also bends up a little bit further than that, actually. And he does have a swivel at the bicep. So Slug does have some G.I. Joe battle grip. And of course, his fists do rotate as well. That's good for part of his transformation. He can be twisted here at the hips. You can spread his legs apart into a full split. His legs do turn at the thighs. And you can raise his leg up at the hip 90 degrees, and we can bend his leg at the knee 90 degrees. So all in all, Slug does have a fair amount of articulation going for him. Okay, to transform Slag, or Slug, however you want to call him, we start by turning him around to his backside. So we're going to separate the tail and a lot of the body, and stretch it out and extend it like so. Of course, they also want us to fold the tail up so that it's ready to be in position. Now, while we've got him like this, we're also going to come down here to his feet. You'll fold the feet inwards like so, because we should be able to rotate out or upwards this piece here along the outside of his legs. Then you will rotate out the dinosaur leg. Then you'll fold this back down and put his feet back into position. We'll come over here and we'll do that again with the other leg. Just exactly like that. The tail fell down, but who cares? Now once we've done that, we'll come up here to his hips. We're going to rotate the hip section all the way around like so. Then now, once they are rotated, and we got them straight, I want us to raise his legs up. And then you will bend them at the knees. Kind of like doing Dinobot yoga here. And then you're going to bring them down and secure them into place. Just exactly like that. Now, in actuality, there's a little post along his feet, and they should attach right in here, right next to his hip shield. And once you've got those into place securely, we're going to come up here, and this gold section here should fold down and connect onto the two red lumps exposed on his legs. Then we're going to fold the tail over and down in here between the robot legs. You'll see right here there's a little post protruding out here. Well, there's a couple of thin holes on the robot legs, and that should line up. You may have to adjust it a little bit. It will require some minute adjusting as you put it into position. So don't be afraid. Try not to get upset, because I know there are some out there that don't have a whole lot of patience, especially for plastic toys. I can't afford to be one of those people. Not and give you all a good review. There we go. Got it in. Got it in with a minimum of fuss. Alrighty. Once we got that in, then we got to come up here and we got to straighten out his arms so that they're like that. We're going to get the legs to reconnect the way they were, and hope to do it without messing everything up, which I have. Come on, everybody, get where you're supposed to be. Excuse me a second. Okay, now that everything's finally secured, you come up here to his fists, and you're going to turn them all the way around so that they're upside down, so that his thumbs are pointing to the floor. And then you will just push them in, so they'll just fold in and fold inside. And we're going to come back here, we're going to raise the dinosaur head back a bit, like that. You'll fold down these white bits on his shoulders so that they'll start forming the crest. Push his head back a bit so it raises up the platform a bit. Then we're going to fold down his chest. Now the robot head folds down inside like that. And then you'll bring it out, this time with the lower jaw of the dinosaur. And then next, we're going to take the shoulder pieces, and they fold inwards. Like that. Now, of course, the flappies here on the back will pop off as well. They go right back in pretty easily, so don't fret, you haven't broken the toy. But you will have to fight with to get the arms both in. Once they're both in like that, then you should be able to bring the chest plate back up, and it should hold things snugly. So then once you've done that, you can come up and look him in the eyes, adjust the pieces of the crest so they fit in, readjust the front legs here, and then now we can fold the wings down on the sides, reattach the one, and then fold it in like that. Then we have already secured the tail. We didn't need to, but we already did it. We'll fold out the rear legs like so. So you just fold out, two-stage fold out. And then lastly, to complete the look, you'll take the gun and insert it into his tail. And then there you have it, folks. Slag, or Slug, is in his alternate mode of a Triceratops. And while he's done up to be more animation style correct, I think he stands a little taller than what he looked like in the cartoon. But that's just my opinion. And of course, here is the Generation 1 version in its dinosaur mode. So you can see how much of an improvement it is. However, mine's not the best, as the quality control for the eye paint got a little sloppy here on the left eye. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little splotch of blue paint that's not in with the eye. So, somebody didn't obviously do the best job, but I can't argue with it too much. So, we get to my thoughts. Well, this is another great Dinobot figure. It's nice to finally have one that's more commercially available, that's done up to resemble how they appeared in the cartoon, as us Generation 1 fans probably would long for. His transformation, it is a bit of a pain in the butt to go through, but it really isn't that difficult once you've done it a few times. It's just a matter of getting everything to line up correctly, and that can be a bit of a frustrating challenge. So I definitely recommend to all of you, have a little bit of patience while working with this toy. You will need it, and it will certainly reward you when it's over. Now, the only real problem with it is that it includes Daniel. It's kind of Hasbro. Very few people probably asked you to include Wheelie in with Grimlock, but at least there was a reason for it. Don't force in an unpopular character if there's no reason to. And for this one, there was no reason to include Daniel except for you to be able to jack the price up. I would have preferred some more of his Generation 1 accessories over having Daniel. And I'm sure there's a fair amount of G1 fans out there that would probably agree with me. And maybe one or two that don't. At any rate, that's my review of the Studio Series 86 version of Slag, or Slug, as he's labeled. I hope you all enjoyed it. At this point, we also ask that if you like the video, please make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, because we do appreciate the feedback. Now, next month is December, the month of giving, as it's our giving seasons for Christmas and at all. So next month on the channel, we're going to be taking a look at some oddball transformers. Basically, I'm showing off different ones. There's not going to be a particular theme going with it, except for the fact that all of the things I will be showing you were gifts. They were gifts to me here at the channel, and I want to share them with my viewers. And if you're really lucky, I've got a special surprise that'll be coming up during the month, something that, for any of you who are followers of the channel, it will blow your minds to see what I've acquired. So, please look forward to it. This is Sparkster1701, reminding you that even though it's Black Friday, and there is a lot of chaos at the stores, be kind to the associates that are working there. I did it for 7 years, and I can tell you, we would definitely appreciate some kindness from the shoppers as well. Remember, COVID and the government have screwed us out of our Christmas, and I'll catch you all later.